Greetings, this is Brother Harold from Hark the Herald podcast series. At you with another podcast. Title of today's subject is The True Purpose of Religion. What is true religion? And what is the purpose of religion? I'm going to start with Romans 8 out of the Berean Standard Bible at verse 5. Those who live according to the flesh set their minds on things of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit set their minds on things of the Spirit. The mind of the flesh is death, but the mind of the Spirit is life and peace, because the mind of the flesh is hostile to God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so. Those controlled by the flesh cannot please God. So this is the purpose of true religion. It is to help to develop us from the inside out, to develop us mentally and spiritually and morally, to help to guide us to being what God created us to be. Men and women who live a life according to a higher moral standard, to higher moral sets of principles, right? This is why God sent prophets. God sent prophets whenever men or women stray from the path of God, right? Whenever men and women sunk to a state of debauchery, sin, and filth, God had to send someone to correct and reprove us, to guide us back to God, to show us how to serve God, to show us how to live. It is only when we fail from that higher state of existence and started living a lower form of life. So now, here we are, God sends Christ. Christ being an example for us, meaning that Christ was man in his perfected state. And so the whole purpose of church is in religion is to show us how to live a godly lifestyle. I'm going to go and quote some words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We do not go to church just to go to church. We do not go to the mosque, the synagogue, the temple, the shrine, or the cloister to just have a meaningless experience with singing and shouting and hearing the preaching, but then go right back out into the world to do the same old wicked things that we did prior to coming to the house of worship. The house of worship, be it the mosque, church, cathedral, synagogue, or temple, must be a place that cultivates the human being to be his fullest in human development, which has to take into consideration all of the aspects of the needs of the human being, not just a spiritual need, but an intellectual and scientific need, a moral need, a political need, an economic need, a social need, a need to be under law that renders human beings equal before and under that law. True religion is a way of life ordered by Allah God that fulfills the needs, the rights, and the righteous interests of the human being so that he can grow to be fully what Allah God intended for the human being to become. See, this is the purpose of religion. It's to show us how to live. And you and I are as human beings, we're not born knowing how to live. And we're born into a world that is shaped by sin, shaped by iniquity. This is the kind of world that you and I live in. And so born into this world and then this environment, they shape us. So we have to have someone to guide us and to shape us into what God created us for, so that we can have the mind of Christ, the mind of God, so that we'd have power over the flesh, power over wickedness, power over sin. The world is corrupt and wicked, but why is the world corrupt and wicked? The world is corrupt and wicked because it is being ruled by people that are corrupt and wicked. Right? So, following and submitting to a world that is corrupt and wicked, we have to have someone to show us a way out of this world, to guide us into a higher way of living, or a higher standard of righteousness, or a higher standard of living that this world does not give us. No political or no politician or no political party can truly save us. It is only God that can save us. And only God through his prophets, God through his Christ, God through his Messiah, God through those truly divine spiritual leaders to guide us into a way of living that frees us from sin and debauchery, that frees us from a spiritual death. So our whole purpose of existence is to serve God, to live a life in complete obedience. But how do we learn obedience? How do we learn to live for God? God has to send someone. And that someone is among us today. And that one is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, guiding us if we follow his guidance. And I'm going to leave you as I came in the greetings of peace.